Good afternoon and welcome to National Geographic. In today's segment, we'll be looking at the difference between the baby boomers and Generation X. Now, these generations are vastly different for a myriad of reasons that we'll be looking at in today's segment. But first of all, let's have a look at who are the baby boomers. Now, the baby boomers are people who are currently between 50 years old and 70 years old, and these could include people such as your parents, or maybe even your grandparents could fit into this category. Now, the reason that we find that the baby boomers and Generation X are so different is probably due to the way that each generation was brought up. Now, first of all, let's look at the baby boomers. They were brought up in a time of privilege, usually associated with privilege, and they were recipients of several government subsidies, such as housing and education, but they also lived through the times of the Vietnam War, the Cold War, assassinations of various political people such as JFK and Martin Luther King Jr. And they also lived through the women's movement and possibly even saw the moon landing in 1969 on their very new TVs. Now, this is very different to the way the Generation X was brought up. They were brought up as children of divorce, people who were often sheltered by their parents who were trying to protect them from the evils of the world. But they also lived through a time of digital media, went insane. School shootings, terrorist attacks, and things like that. They even may have seen 9/11 on TV that happened in the United States. Now, coming back to the digital media of Generation X, they are very techno-savvy. They are attached to their gadgets. Reports say that students often are on the bus on the way home from school and they cannot even talk to the person next to them, but instead they will sit there with their headphones in, listening to the newest Lady Gaga or Britney Spears attached to their smartphones. They believe, however, that they can change the world through technology and are open to discovering new technological trends. For example, the new iPhone comes out pretty regularly, and it is often the Generation X that are attached to buying the latest one. Now, the baby boomers, technology to them is a microwave. Now, reports say that there was a case of a 55-year-old woman who refused to get a mobile phone because she had survived this long without one, so why get one now? This is often a case that is shown between the baby boomers. Often the baby boomers will spring into midlife crises where they will possibly buy fairly expensive items such as a car or a bike or a boat or something like that because they feel like that they are getting old rather quickly. Whereas the Generation X are stuck in the boat of, what am I actually doing with my life? Where am I going? And things like that. Baby boomers tend to control a lot of the financial assets of the world. They are, in fact, in control of 80% of all leisurely travel that occurs in the global market. Generation X save all their money and then they spend it all in one go just to go through a weekend trip to Bali. They also receive, if they're lucky, they can receive HEX help, which will help them save some more money so that they can possibly go to Papua New Guinea or New Zealand for a skiing weekend. But the baby boomers are associated with Generation Me. They've had privilege, they have had everything provided for them, and they believe that most of the government and all the policies are about them. Generation X are more about Generation Me first. So it's Generation Me first. Generation X want everything done for them, but they want them done for them first. For example, the iPhone and other technological products like that. The baby boomers, however, define themselves by what they do for a living. Their identity is found in, say, their teaching career or in their scientific research or etc. Generation X live to work. They live just so that they can buy their fancy holidays away, and their careers are just a means to an end. Their lifestyle is way more important than their career. Baby boomers, their career is their lifestyle. They live to work. They tend to be workaholics, spending over 50 hours, maybe 60, 70 hours a week just to build up their career. So what does this mean for the future generations of Australia? Well, baby boomers are undoubtedly the highest number of population that we have in Australia. They present a financially restricting future because there's so many of them, and technological advancements have helped hospitals and other institutions like that provide for them. So Generation X will be the ones that will be supporting them. They will be giving them their pension, and they will be working till later. Remember, they will be living to work to pay for the baby boomers' pensions and their aged care facilities. So, what is the real difference between the baby boomers and Generation X? I believe that it's in their histories and in the way that they live their lives. Thank you for joining in to National Geographic.